Okay guys, here we are in the cockpit of RBR in the Volkswagen Golf R32. And as you can see, we got some stuff on the screen. There I'm showing the gauges, which now work in RBR. It's a phenomenal update that they implemented. Obviously, in VR, the game's incredible. You can see the old jaggy line face guys look like they're from GoldenEye. um, But yeah, I mean, it runs very smoothly in VR. It unfortunately is going to look a little jittery here at times. This is from the left eye perspective, and I'm going to try to add some stabilization to the next VR video, so hopefully it won't be quite so jerky. I'm sorry about that, but all right, here we start the stage, holding in the handbrake, which I don't have, so it's just a button. This is one of my favorite tarmac stages, Gestel, Germany, I believe. Maybe it's Gestel, I don't know how to pronounce it. So yeah, looking graphically at the game, I mean, it looks pretty good. Obviously the lighting is not really there in RVR, so it's pretty much fixed. There's not all the modern lighting effects, and I'm not too, I'm not too versed on all of that detail-wise anyway when it comes to gaming, but obviously this game looks a bit dated, but this stage is a good example of a modded stage that has really got the look of Rally down. You know, the road is narrow, there's buildings right there, there's bollards, and everything looks completely dry, usable. It looks real enough, like it looks like it's a real stage, and it's because it is. So, and that's much more in contrast to a lot of other rally games of late that their stages don't really look like real rally stages. They look like they were made in a video game. And so the difference here is you actually can drive real rally stages. So that is quite nice to see. But the lighting's limited. Some of the older stages look really bad. Some of the newer stages look pretty darn good. As far as the handling of the car, I mean, this car feels great. You can push it. You can feel the suspension, you can feel the grip level for the most part all the time. It drives like you would imagine a front-wheel drive car would drive, and the setup allows pretty much a wide range to set the car up for tarmac or gravel or snow. Now, the setup screen is very hard to work through, and the default setups are pretty bad, although I think Rally Sim Fans has kind of implemented some better default setups that are not quite so terrible. Worker Bee, who designed NGP, had said, I think it was him, that originally he wanted the default setups to be bad on purpose because he wanted people to have to work on a setup, and that was true. I mean, they're pretty no good, but they're much better now. It definitely takes some learning to learn how to set one of these cars up, and it's quite a constant game. Sometimes you feel like you need to become an engineer to do that, but the overall physics of the car are just phenomenal. Here you could hear a little bit of lockup there, but I was able to make the corner. And so let's talk a bit about the tires then. Yeah, the tires in the same way. You can feel them quite well, especially for a sim of this age. NGP 7 physics are really good at letting you know what the tires are doing almost all the time. Now there is a point where they go over the edge of grip that sometimes you kind of lose grip for a long time, but yeah, I mean, overall you can really feel the tires on tarmac. The handling feels quite sharp, depending on your setup, that is. I mean, if you've got your suspension too soft, then it will feel a bit sluggish. If you've got your suspension stiff, it'll feel really sharp, and maybe even too sharp and too pointed, so it'll be hard to drive over any kind of bumps. You can hear my voices, my own pace notes in the background. I've got them turned down mostly. That kind of leads us into sounds. I'll just let you listen to it for a second. Easy left, 250. Square right, 200. Yeah, the F-Mod sounds are amazing. This car sounds mean, right? For being a little four-cylinder engine that doesn't make a lot of power. It sounds mean because the car does sound mean. Yeah, the sounds are great in the F-Mod. Obviously, they have some great co-drivers as well. that you can choose from, quite a few of them. I just made my own voice co-driver pace note callouts because I wanted to try that years ago, and I just kind of stuck with it because I can understand it well. But there's lots of choices for co-drivers, and they're all pretty good quality as well for the most part. So here you can kind of see your stage time and then your sector times, your best time for that car, your best time overall. It's really cool how they continue to develop all of that. So I think now I'm going to move to a gravel stage. Here's just kind of the stage list in the background. Sorry, it's a bit small, hard to see. It's just how the menu system works with Steam VR and RBR. I think we're going to go to Chirden Head, which is one of the original stages from the UK. That came with RBR, and it's a gravel stage. And you can see, graphically, it doesn't look too bad. Sorry for the jittering on the screen here. This is what happens when you load in VR. So yeah, here's the Chirden Head stage. Obviously, it looks simple, but it's definitely workable. And to me, I would much prefer a game that drives like this and looks like this versus something that looks better but doesn't drive like this does. Because this is just so fun to drive because you feel like you're actually driving a car on gravel. You get the sense that you can end up in the tree like there almost, and that you're sliding around all the time, and so you're really having to learn car control on the loose surface, and it just feels so natural most of the time.
Easy right into over crest 80, brake, square left 50, easy right into over crest and
so here we head into this first square left. There's some pretty big potholes there, which are also something that RBR stages do so well. Look at the edge of the road, how it drops off to a ditch. So if you get off the road a little bit, and you'll see that here in a minute, it's not good. It's not like the road's so wide that you can just go off wherever you want. You can't cut most of the time because you're gonna ruin the car, damage the car. And of course there are anti-cuts in the Rally Sim Fans plugin anyway for online. Sorry, there's a few hitches here. I don't know why there was a few graphical kind of hitches. It wasn't happening in my headset, but looks like the stream or the recording just got it. It's a fast right-hander right here. You see, the thing with the front-wheel drive car is you'll notice, getting on the throttle, it's going to pull the front end, which is what you would expect. And so it does that really well. And you have to learn how to use that to your advantage, right? You're driving front-wheel drive versus rear-wheel drive. Of course, how you set the car up. Like here, I'm too much on the throttle and it pulls the car towards where I'm steering, which was off the road. So yeah, talking a bit about the content in RBR, I mean, I'm driving one car here, but the content is everything you would want it to be from a rally perspective. So you've got all the old historical content. You've got so many real-life stages at this point. And they're all done so well. You can tell people really put their heart and soul into these. So the content is just, it's like unmatched. And here so that was one of those cases where I broke too late. It was definitely my fault. The car just kind of went into a lock, and maybe I just have too much brake pressure applied. I don't know. But there was no saving that, and maybe realistic. The tires kind of turn off in a sense right there, but when you lock tires up, that is going to happen. So you can see we cracked the windshield on some branches and that, and I hit a stump on the way out. You could kind of see it. That's one of the shows right there of kind of the graphical age of the game. When you go off the stage a bit, it's more or less just 2D objects most of the time. So you're kind of trying to drive between things that you're not really sure how big the hitboxes are and that. So it is one of the negatives, I'd say, with the game graphically. So I'm just running a practice stage here, but there are time trials you can do, and there are just an endless amount of multiplayer stages and rallies that you can run and championships that you can run. So there are so many different options for you in the multiplayer and the ranked racing, system within Rally Sim Fans, that it really offers an endless amount of driving if you want to do it. You can even go make your own stages. You can make your own rallies. You can make your own championship if you want. You can post it up there, and you can set it all up the way you want to do it. You can make your own graphics for it, and it's the absolute rally sim dream. And there, I just can't drive, so hit the water there, and just it was too much on the throttle. So, and there it shows the damage kind of at the top of the screen. The damage repair system between stages is very cool as well. I don't show that here, but they've really worked on that, where you have a certain amount of mechanics, and you've got to determine how what you're going to repair and how much time you have. It's really neat. So here's the daily stages. This is all the multiplayer stages. The daily stages are the light blue ones at the top. They change every day. It's usually 2-3 stages that you can run. So this is what I would kind of consider like daily AI racing, but you're racing real players. The dark blue here are all the championships currently running, and there are some crazy championships, like right here, the Sim Rally Masters Championship, which is on round 4, it looks like. This is an epic rally championship and has like 40 stages. Look at how long this rally is. So these take generally 3-4 hours maybe to complete. You have almost 2 weeks to do it though. And then all the green rallies are rallies you can just sign up for and do. They're just one-off rallies. They might have one stage, they might have 20 stages. It's just someone built a rally and wanted to do something and put it up here. And so there's so many options. Yeah, you can also run the rally school if you want to do that. They've now implemented that. So yeah, guys, that is RBR with the Rally Sim Fans plugin. I definitely recommend, if you're going to play this game, to play it with the RSF plugin. There's really no other way to play it. It's the best. And so with that, let's move over into the scoring. Okay, guys, we just finished the drive in Richard Burns, and here we are to score it. So let's get through this here pretty quickly. We talked about the different categories while I was doing the drive, and so there's no long to belabor this too much. Let's just put it down in actual numbers, okay? Because I like numbers. I don't know about you, but I like numbers. All right, graphics out of 10 for all these categories. Out of 10, RBR graphics-wise, subpar. It's not great. Some of the newer stuff does look pretty good, for sure. It's very limited on what they can do because it's an old engine. A lot of the stuff looks really bad. I'm going to rate it as a 4 out of 10. I think that's pretty fair. Physics. The physics in Richard Burns are really good using NGP 7 physics. You can definitely feel the car's handling, how it operates, how the suspension is working, especially when you consider over 3 different surface types. You're dealing with a lot of jumps, and it handles all of that. The damping and the suspension spring action works very well in the sim. It isn't 100% perfect. It's limited in how much variation they can do in the suspension type. So some of the historical cars aren't modeled 100% accurately, but it's really solid. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10 here. Now with tires, in a very similar fashion, you can really feel the edge of grip in RBR almost all the time. And so you can dance around that edge of grip. You can actually overdrive a little bit as well. The tires work so very well between tarmac, dirt, and snow. There's a big difference in how they feel, but all of them feel very natural. Now there are a few times where the tires, to me, turn off a little bit. But it's rare. It doesn't happen that often. It can usually be rally ending when it does, and not to say that it's not my fault, because it usually is my fault. Anyways, I'm going to score tires also an 8 out of 10. I think they're very good. This force feedback has improved over the years, and NGP also has improved the force feedback. Obviously it's an old sim, so it's not going to be ideal or great for maybe the modern equipment, but the Rally Sim Fans launcher allows for some pretty good adjustments within this force feedback to kind of dial in the force levels a little bit. I have noticed at times the forces can just be a little bit too strong under certain circumstances, if you hit a pothole or whatever, and so you need to kind of turn them down in order to keep that from happening. Anyways, they convey pretty decently what the car is doing and how grip level is, how you're reaching the edge of that grip level, but it's not perfect. I'd say it's slightly above average though, so I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Now the sounds in RBR are for the most part phenomenal, thanks to the FMod crew. The FMod guys have come in and spent tons of time developing and extracting sounds from whatever sources they could find for each one of the cars. Now, I don't believe every car has an FMod, so there are some cars that don't. Now you can apply other FMod car sounds to them to replace the original RBR sounds, which you don't want to use. But yeah, the sounds are awesome in the game. Obviously, a lot of the other sounds have been updated as well. Maybe they're not quite as good as the FMod engine sounds, but all the engine sounds in this game sound so visceral. They sound so, you know, you just sense the horsepower. Even if it's a little tiny engine with barely any horsepower, you feel it. And so sounds, I'm giving a 9 out of 10. They're very close to being perfect. Content in RBR is all you could want it to be. Almost. So if you love historical rally cars, you're probably going to find many cars that you will love to drive, and they will drive very good. It even has a lot of modern rally cars as well. However, it is missing the very latest Rally 1 cars, and you know, with the hybrid system, and of course it doesn't have every rally car. So content to me is amazing. Stages as well, there's nearly 500 stages. So many of them are based on real world stages, and they look very good, and they operate and function very well on the platform of the Hungarian plug-in platform with Rally Sim Fans. So all of those stages are included, including a lot of BTB, which are Bob Track Builder stages. Don't want to get into that too much. Anyway, there's a lot of content. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. It's almost got absolutely everything. Now, there's technically no AI in RBR. There is a single player. You can go boot up the original game, and the AI actually functions, their times and how they actually do the rallies are very well done. So in that sense, with Rally Sim Fans, there's no single player yet. There could be coming single player, but there's also daily rallies and so many rallies that you can go participate in, which essentially to me are the same as racing in AI when you're talking about a rally game. It's just against real players, which really makes it better. But that to say, I didn't want this score to skew the score too much one way or the other, so I'm just going to put it at a 5, and we're going to move on. All right, so the multiplayer player base is actually probably a lot more than you think it is on the RSF plugin. So Rally Sim Fans has a big player base. There are so many people doing rallies all the time. There's tons of participation in the championships and world record stages and all that. So again, it's not maybe perfect. You have to go outside of the sim or outside of the game to a website to go find it, but there are a lot of people playing it. There's a lot of active discords. 9 out of 10. And to go along with that, Rally Sim Fans has a lot of ranking on their website that'll be tied to your profile. So you can have world records on stages. They do all that. They do trophies that will get added to your profile as you win rallies and win championships. There are championships on there that you can go back and look at historical results in the past even on and track, you know, championship points and all that. So there's not necessarily an ELO system, but there's so much involved in rally rankings that they have on their site that to me this is almost everything you could want in a rally sim, because if you want to do a championship, if you want to do single rallies, if you want to do stage records, you can do all those things, and then you essentially build out your own career in your profile on the website. So I'm giving it again a 9 out of 10. And all of this for the amazing cost of free. RBR is freeware at this point, obviously, and all the content on Rally Sim Fans is free. It's amazing what you get for no cost at all. Now, you can donate to these guys, and I would recommend you do that to support them, because there's so many people putting so much work in. This is a passion project, and obviously the original game doesn't hold a candle to RBR with the NGP physics and with the RSF plugin. But considering those things, and considering those are also free, this is such a bargain. I'm going to actually break my own rule here already, and I'm going to put the cost at an 11, because you can't even, it just doesn't even compare to any of the other sims being completely free. So there you go. Richard Burns Rally scores a 78 out of 100. You can see that physics wise it's very good, sounds and content wise and multiplayer capability it's very good, and it's completely free. Graphically not so great, force feedback's okay but not the best. That's about it. I'm telling you, if you've not played this, you need to go try it. You're probably going to get lost for about 500 hours because it's difficult, but it's so enjoyable. So that is Richard Burns Rally. We will score iRacing in the next part of the series, so I hope to see you in that one. And until then, happy sim rallying or sim racing, and we'll see y'all later.